HHV delivers specialty designed arts and craft kits that serve as a therapeutic tool to help veterans during their recuperation. They can also help with PTSD. The kits are free and can be sent directly to your home. Call this number or visit hhv.org to learn more.
Okay, I'd like to call order regular scheduled Park District meeting September 12th, 2024. Could I get a roll call, please?
President Walls.
Here.
Commissioner Carlson.
Here.
Commissioner O'Malley.
Here.
Commissioner Biecki and Commissioner Cook are absent.
We've got approval of minutes, August 22nd, 2024 for Committee of the Whole, August 22nd, 2024 for regular scheduled meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Hearing none, 3-0. Need a motion and a second for August 22nd, 2024 closed session meeting.
So moved. Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Carlson.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Malley.
Yes.
President Walls.
Yes. Recognition of special guests. Katie Dunn, Aquatics Manager, Kate Nelson, Aquatic Supervisor, and Stephanie Stanislawski, Aquatic Supervisor. One at a time, all at once, doesn't matter.
I'm going to speak for us, and they're here to back me up if you guys have
Security?
particularly tricky questions.
They're their security.
You know, they just made that joke, and I was like, I think you all are great. I'm not sure you're that intimidating.
Not at all.
Have at it.
Beautiful. Well, thanks for having us. A few updates and things we're really proud of this year. On the operations side of things, in January, we started the transition from Ellison Associates to Stargard. We made that transition because we felt like our audits were a little bit less consistent, less helpful than we thought they could be. And we're really happy with what we've gotten so far this year. So we've had 4 audits, all have been really successful. We're anticipating 1 more audit sometime this fall unannounced. So we are anxiously awaiting that, excited to see it. At the end of last summer, we started budget season, and we felt like our CPR equipment wasn't quite up to par, wasn't adequate for training our guards as well as we would like to. So we worked with Becky Cooper from Risk Management. She helped us get a lot more CPR equipment. We've seen a direct impact on our staff this year. 2 examples on our audits, we've gotten near perfect scores on our CPR. We're so proud of that. And then additionally, we took 2 teams to the IPRA State Guard Games this year, and they scored in the top 3 on their CPR. They got scores of 97% and like 96.8%. So we were super proud of that. Another thing that we did well this summer, we worked with our customer service team to translate all of our Rainbow Falls Water Park rules and policies into Polish and Spanish so we could better serve the patrons coming in that didn't speak English. We've gotten many thanks on that. We've still had to quite a bit find a staff member that can help out translating at points, but definitely had an impact. We saw a 13% increase in our number of daily admissions at Rainbow Falls this summer. And we will hopefully be working with marketing later this month to promote some memberships at PAC. So that's the operations side of things. On our programs and events side, we've had 2 super successful events this year. We reimagined our Easter event and had over 150 people register to attend. And then we had over 90 people attend our Reptile River 5K over the summer. So both of those are huge increases from previous years. We've got Snowflake Swim and H2O coming up, so hopefully we'll see you all there. I'm gonna look for you, Ben. I hope you're there.
I'll be there. Not in a bathing suit.
Well,
Then don't go.
registrations are up in all of our regular programs as well. Our big 2, Parents Night Out, is up about 50% from last year. And we think we have room to grow it next year, so we are planning, budgeting for growth that way. Our swimming lesson registrations are up 26%. So those are a little bit less room for growth next year, but we're still hoping to keep trending upwards. Our Stingrays swim team has been super successful. In 2023, only 15 of our Stingrays got invited to participate in the all-conference meet. That's based off of their performance during the winter season, and this year we had 45 of them participate. So that's huge. They brought home 15 first-place medals, so super proud of them. Department-wide, a couple things we've been working on. We worked with HR to better utilize the Bamboo software. We started tracking referral bonuses in Bamboo, and we've transitioned some paperwork to Bamboo. Susan's kind of used us as a guinea pig to test out some things that she's hoping to share out across the district, so that's been fun to try out. We also led the transition to the new scheduling software for the district. Pirates Cove followed us a few months later, and Fitness will be following us this fall, so that's been a transition. And then if you check the calendars, today's September 12th, that means there's only 254 days till opening day,
Yeah.
and that's aquatics this year.
Any comments or questions? I don't want to jinx it, but the guard thing was kind of cool this year, right?
The what
The
thing?
guard thing, that we didn't have, like, panicking for guards.
It was really kind of cool. It was really cool. Yes, it was very cool.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we started out well staffed this year. There was room for a few more, but we did pretty well this year.
And you tackled everybody on the way out saying you gotta come back. You had so much fun.
Most of them.
Very
There are
good.
a few we said, maybe grow up a little bit this year and we'll see you again next summer.
That's the interview process, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much, all 3 of you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, see you later.
Okay, public communications, comments from the audience? Alan?
My name is Alan Kreitz. I've already expressed my unhappiness with the layout of the pavilion machines directly to Commissioner O'Malley, and so I won't have anything further to say at this time. Thank you.
Okay, Alan, thank you. Anybody else? Bill?
Good evening, Bill Lavin, Elk Grove Village resident. Can you bring me up to date on the new property that is being perhaps acquired by Elk Grove Village and perhaps by the Park District? The northwest corner, northeast corner of the village, the properties up by,
Elmhurst?
I believe he's
Yes.
talking about the
It's on WRD.
MWRD property. That is
Oh,
currently
we don't
under
have,
lease with
we
Mount
really have
Prospect
nothing to
Park
do with
District.
that? That's the village and a private developer? Are you talking about WGM property?
no, sir.
No, this is
The
Higgins and.
Mount Prospect property that's part of the Water Metropolitan District.
Yeah, MWRD.
Do we, Bill, I have no idea.
So in-
Let me ask.
Yeah, we call it Pipeline Alley. I know where you're talking about. I don't see a whole
It was
lot
just
of.
the information I read in the newspaper. And that they said that that would be a possibility for nature trails and a dog run. And I would assume at that point that the village would be looking at the Park District to perhaps develop that area.
So, I guess
Go
if
ahead.
you want, I mean, Bill, it's part of the Envision Elk Grove.
Yep. Yeah.
And so, right now, Mount Prospect Park District leases the property from MWRD. Yeah, the village would take over that lease, and I'm assuming purchase the property. And
They said, I don't mean to interrupt you,
No.
I'm sorry.
And then they would develop it, and part of it, as it's on the village website, is a possible dog park, playground, trails,
Golf course, the disc frisbee.
disc frisbee golf course, kind of like at Clark Park.
So the park district.
The park that-
Without-
No, the park, the way I understand, the village would develop it, and they could possibly turn it over to us to maintain it.
Yeah, but that's, up until that point where they purchased it, I haven't heard anything about them coming to us, but it would kind of go along the same lines of what happened at WGN. They got the developer and then came to us after all was said and done. So I'm not gonna say that we wouldn't partner up with them, but at this point, it's too early.
Just to add information from what I read in the paper was they were being given the property. It would not be any cost to the taxpayers of Elk Grove Village.
Yeah, that's like-
the way I read the article. I'm sorry,
That's the
I didn't
perfect
read
storm,
it.
right?
Pardon me?
That's the perfect storm for residents. Because now we can do something with it.
Right.
But we haven't talked to the village, as far as I know, about that at all yet.
Okay. What I wanted to consider was that with the new property coming perhaps to the park district, that you would table item number, whatever it was, D, until you review that area for the possible use of.
It could be 10 years before that comes.
Yeah, I mean, just the WGN property was talked about 3 years ago. I bet you they're 3 to 4 years away from that easily.
The way I read, or can we look at that before you make a decision on item D to make sure that it wouldn't be a possibility to place pickleball in that area?
I'm speaking for myself. I'm gonna be voting to move forward with the pickleball at Marshall, including the lights and the screening that Ben and Tom went and saw. And we've chewed this topic up for probably 6 months. And it's to the point where we're gonna vote, and we'll see how that vote falls.
Okay, I understand. What are we gonna do about mitigation of the sound for the pickleball?
We've chewed that topic quite a bit too. Ben and Tom went out to Sycamore as promised to go see the plexiglass. I call it plexiglass, it's tempered glass. And they said it was far exceeded their expectations. Tom's not here. Ben, you wanna tell them what you saw?
It's really exactly what you would expect. It's checks all the boxes, the concerns of visibility, safety, security, and frankly, aesthetics. It looks really classy, it looks professional, modern looking, and it definitely absorbs and blocks the sound from penetrating, because when Mark stood on the outside and he had to yell through the glass for me to hear him. So it's gonna do everything we want it to do and check all those other boxes that there was concerns about with putting fencing up with the absorption panels and a big black box, if you will. So we're pretty excited about it.
So continuing forward, we have a solution to mitigate the sound
That is it.
for pickleball.
Yep.
That's the solution.
Okay. One other item, the stadium lightings for the soccer field. That's number G, I believe. right?
Yes.
Number F. Is there a need for that?
There is a need. We've gone through this numerous times. Mr. Lavin, I will tell you, I'm very familiar with outdoor lighting. This is not the lighting you and I grew up on. I wish there was something else where we had this, but essentially, it's a box. It's literally a box of light, and that's what we're doing. We're doing the soccer field. If you take 8 feet, you go 6 feet out of that box, you won't be able to find your keys in grass. There's no light wash. They call it light pollution. But yeah, we are gonna move forward on that as well.
Respectfully, is that going to be similar to the light that's present right now in the parking lot?
No, it's a total different light.
Okay. Thank you very much for your.
And I'll explain why. We're trying to splash as little light as possible, but as much light as we can to keep it safe. That's what
Parking lot or? for-
That's what parking lot lighting is for.
Right.
This is a whole different level. We want it right here and nowhere else, so.
Thank you.
You're
Hey,
welcome.
Bill, I could also add that when I was at the Vision, Elk Rose Vision held at the Garden Terrace, you're talking about the potential uses over by the land that's east of there. I don't even know if they knew that until that day, and I know that they hire very expensive, diligent, people that look into how pockets of land could be used over there and why it's free. But I did express to them that I don't think they understood how many utilities were there. I work for an oil company and we have 2 pipelines going through that. It's called the O'Hare Reservoir that comes in off of Nicholas Road. So there's 2 West Shore pipelines delivering jet fuel. There's 2 Shell lines delivering jet fuel. There's a Nicor 30-inch natural gas line in that same corridor. There's a Kinder Morgan heavy 30-inch or 36 line. MWRD has their own water main. There's an MWRD sludge line. Jawa is buttoned up along I-90, and I might be missing another oil company, but none of them are going to allow any kind of work over. We paid for these easements and have easements, and we're not going to allow any park district. That's why Mount Prospect, I think, acquired the land and couldn't do anything in there. They were looking for a ski hill and all sorts of different things that I'd heard about because they have to do soil borings and run it past the oil companies. So unless the village is gonna just pick out little pockets of land, the interior really can't be used for anything. And we'll find out later. Okay.
Okay,
It's got the big,
Lori?
those hills too.
questions answered? Mrs. Cundiff?
Thank you. I would like to have you share with us information that you currently have on the glass pickleball court. I noticed on the agenda tonight was the approval of lighting, exterior lighting, but BJB Sports now has an option with their glass court that has internal lighting, has no external lighting. The lighting is entirely within the unit. It therefore does not bring more disruption to the community in which it is. And I've wondered whether or not you are aware of that at this time. The other thing is the facility that was built at Sycamore has external lighting, but quote, it's like in the country. St. Charles Country Club is also building a glass pickle court, but it has no exterior lighting, even though its community is at a great distance from where they're going to have the course. Interestingly enough, also at St. Charles, their leagues will only be allowed to play between 3 and 5 in the afternoon so as not to disrupt the community. I understand that we have these issues continuously, but I would appreciate it very much if you would look into the optional lighting, because my understanding is it does not add as much cost as what you're currently looking at. Excuse me. And I was wondering if you noticed the article on Rolling Meadows, pickleball. The area there is 27 acres rather than the 6.2 that we have at Marshall Park. And then a question that people are asking in the Marshall Park group is the fence that is around the soccer field now, is there going to be a fence there, or is the retention pond going to be fenced in? When they take a look at what's fenced in currently and the retention pond, and they walk off the pickleball, what they're seeing is a little narrow wedge that some people are guessing probably isn't even a half an acre of open area. And so we're kind of back to that issue of what is the open space of Marshall Park. And I noticed that we have in the bills tonight, $352,000 for asphalt. And is that asphalt for Marshall Park? And if it is, that brings the cost of Marshall Park's pickleball to over $500,000.
Thank you, Connie. Anybody else? Tim? No?
Yeah, no.
Thank you.
All right, I'll be brief. This may take, I may not get to all the material today, this may take a meeting or two, but just to kind of piggyback on what Mr. Kreitz said, I think the new area at the Pavilion Fitness Center, the new, I guess you'd call it, I don't even know what the term would be. It is cool, I will give it that, when you're alone. When you are by yourself and you have complete control of the space, it is pretty cool. But the moment you get two, the moment you get three people in that space, that coolness does decrease tremendously because of spatial awareness. You really don't have your own little area to do your thing, and some of the areas do kind of box each other out. For instance, if somebody's doing the sled, you have to be aware of where that sled is going, because if you're standing somewhere, you don't want to get run over by the sled. So I think it's got potential, but again, I also think that the lack of kind of individual areas for people to work out is going to be a problem, and I also think you have a high risk of injury if somebody's careless in there. But again, it is cool. I think for as many people though, you are overlooking a very large issue, and that is, I think your lack of a Zumba instructor is going to hurt you more than you get help from the new additions and the new renovations. I think that you're going to start seeing people leave the group fitness because I'm hearing the phrase that the group fitness is boring, and that the lack of Zumba, the lack of direct diversity is kind of making it yoga intensive, where it's heavily dominated by yoga. So I do think that you're offering $26, I think, for a Zumba instructor. I would say you might want to up it, because I think you're going to start losing that base of people, because it's not singletons, it's groups. It's a group of 2 or 3 people that come and go as groups. And I think once that happens, you're not going to get those people back. I will say that I did hear this, the comment about the swim team and the Stingrays, and I think it's awesome kids are getting experience, but I also think you need to look at the times, because my suspicion is that you're going to see a lot more invitations to conference, because a lot more of the kids are going into the REACH and CORE programs, and those are different conferences. So I would say I would really look at the times to see, time-wise, where are the kids from 5 years ago in comparison to the times that are getting to conference now. So for instance, are there times now that are conference acceptable times that would not have been considered for conference a few years back because of the level of competition? But again, I think it's awesome that kids, but I think you're moving to the situation where Stingrays is kind of like the training wheel program for CORE and REACH. But again, accomplishment is an accomplishment. At the last meeting, President Waltz and I had a brief but terse discussion on the issue of FOIA. I believe it was, the assumption was that Mr. Waltz was not happy or was concerned or generally was displeased by my exercising of Illinois rights and my exercising of Illinois state law. It's kind of interesting that this subject just came up with in schools, and Commissioner O'Malley, your son may know what I'm referring to, being in Lake County, but school districts from across Illinois just in the past week and a half got what's commonly referred to as the Owen Wang FOIA, which is what appears, and I don't know if this is fact, but it appears to be the first AI-generated mass FOIA, where it is not unclear if there's a human being behind it or if it is completely AI-generated. This brought up a lot of questions from school districts as to if we really have reason to believe that this isn't a human being behind the keyboard, that this is AI, do we have to respond to it? Now the attorneys that represent schools were pretty one-sided and pretty straightforward. Yes, you treat it, if somebody says this is what I want, you go through your process and then you send it out. It's not your job to fact check the email addresses people give you. And so I think this is going to be a large-scale question going through. I don't know if this issue is over with, but the advice was pretty clear that you respond to all FOIAs as long as they're within the scope of the law. That being said, they also talked very extensively about FOIA proofing, which I have been FOIA proofing for the past 10 years. FOIA proofing is a pretty simplistic comment, or a pretty simplistic concept. It basically focuses on putting more of your information online. Now, the Park District, unfortunately, is not that transparent of an organization. You're rather opaque. You have your agendas and you have your minutes. But there's a great big guts in the middle regarding the ordinances, the actual resolutions, words that are contained in the resolutions, and your financials. Now, District 59 just had their meeting yesterday, and they had their P cards, they had their bills. You know exactly who got paid. You know exactly how people are spending their money. You know exactly who is going to out-of-state trips, out-of-state conferences. You know what vendors were getting food. You know everything because it's there. That's an example of FOIA proofing, where simply you put it online, and if a person doesn't have to file a FOIA. Now consider that tonight you're approving your bills. If I really wanted to know how you got to your figures, what would I have to do? I would not be able to just look anywhere. Some of your staff don't return phone calls. What would I be able to do? What is the process to say, you have this information, you have this figure of, I believe it is 11 A, B, and C, August 30th, 258, 105.99. If I was really inclined to know how you arrived at that figure, I have no recourse but to file a FOIA. And so it's kind of ironic that you're not putting information online, yet you are acting in a very fascistic manner by attacking citizens for exercising their right on Illinois law to file FOIAs for information that you should probably just put online to begin with. So I would say that if you really are concerned about the cost of FOIA, and this isn't just mere politicking or just being crabby for a day, I would say you really might consider, what do we put online? What is available? And also, if people ask your staff to give them a call, and you think for a moment that those people are likely to file FOIAs if they don't give them a call, then you might just consider your staff to give them a call. And if they're unable to give them a call, then that becomes a performance issue. Because if you're really concerned about cost, you can't have it both ways. You can't be opaque, have administrators that don't return calls or won't make calls, but yet complain when citizens exercise their rights under FOIA. Now, I won't get into everything, but I'll talk a little bit about kind of where we're at. At the last meeting, I was led to believe that there was a compromise on the issue of the fences at Mead. And then I was greeted with the correspondence a few days later that said it was not a compromise, but it was a trial period, to which case the issue was still ongoing. And so I think that at this point, your associations have serious liability, and your Elk Grove Girls Softball Organization has an immense aspect of vulnerability. To which case, I would say that, you really do need to consider that and move forward. I would actually say it's maybe time to walk away from it. Now, to give you an example of what I mean, these associations have only been part of the Park District umbrella fully since 2018. And at that point in time, that was a very microwave conversation. It was basically, we got this Bedummer insurance issue, how do we solve it? And let's go straight forward into making the associations fully part of the Park District. Now, at that point, there were a lot of good ideas out there. Ralph Sauter had a really amazing idea. Ralph Sauter says one large athletic organization that was privatized and encompassed them all. Now, at the time, privatization was kind of scary. But I'm going to say something, and I'm accountable for everything they say, and I'm the one saying it. And I have to check the ground to make sure that something didn't freeze over. But there is a wrestling program ran by an elected official down the way. That is a private program. It is not a Park District program. But everything that I see is that this Junior Grunge Wrestling Club is amazing. People like it. People return to it. And it's growing. So if you were to tell me, and again, I don't know if the elected official runs it or heavily influences it, but if you were to tell me that that is what private athletic organizations could look like, I would say we got no issues here. But with that being said, the overall vulnerability of the association is that you did not build a mechanism for the issue of interest. For instance, if interest in one particular sport increases, how do new associations form? Is that staff? Is that organic, where people on the outside have to create the organization and seek to become part of the Park District family? How does that happen? And conversely, if numbers decline, at what point do we say it's not really worth being under the park district umbrella? Maybe we should start talking privatization, or we should start looking at consolidation. Is there a better way to do this? You don't really have a mechanism that triggers what happens if interest declines in an association. Now, these associations, I think, have some specific vulnerabilities. I won't talk about Elk Grove girls softball right now. I think the devil is in the details. I think that when it comes to private organizations, you're seeing a lot of Elk Grove families joining the Roselle Medina baseball softball organization. In fact, I've actually had some experience with this 7 years ago because Josh Lukey, who was a Eggs coach, basically there was no fall ball at the time. Josh took a bunch of girls, including my oldest daughter, and then went to Roselle and created a team out there. And that was the first forte into fall ball, in which case all those girls came back and said what a wonderful time was, and then we had fall ball. Now since then, it's been kind of inconsistent, which is it, is it gonna be a model where they're in the Carroll Stream League? Is it gonna be a model where they only play Elk Grove teams and there's only 3 or 4 teams? That has been the downfall of the organization, where that's inconsistency. Whereas families are starting to see, well, every year in other organizations right down the street, it's 10U, 11U, 12U, 13U. There's no question about who I'm going to be grouped with. If I'm a 4th grader, will I be with 3rd graders? If I'm a 4th grader, will I be 5th graders? If I'm a 5th grader, will I be with 8th graders? There's no question about that because it's straight 10U, 11U, 12U, 13U. And a lot of families are liking that. A lot of families are liking the idea of going into other towns where they don't know the pitcher. They don't know the coach. They don't know the skills of the players. They're not going to see the second baseman at lunch tomorrow. And that does kind of bring in a realness that helps prepare kids for high school. So it's one way or the other. I mean, once you experience that, you either like it or you don't like it. And when just 2 weeks ago at Meade, when we played Roselle, and there were 3 Elk Grove girls wearing Roselle jerseys playing against Elk Grove kids, I think you're going to start seeing that happen more and more as more kids start talking about just the consistency of the Roselle Medina organization. That being said, you also have this issue that is unfortunately very ugly hat. And you're starting to see more and more former coaches saying this. You're starting to see this coming up in program surveys, and that's the issue of player evaluations. Specifically, the player evaluation process, and that how that information is utilized in the draft process. And is this a sound process? For instance, is there any possibility that a player that is amazing is rated lower so that a coach that is not aware of that kid would not necessarily pick that kid, but a coach that knows the kid and knows the kid's abilities would then seek that kid out. Conversely, if a kid is really just below average, is there any possibility that they might be rated really, really high so that, again, an unknowing coach picks that kid because on paper they look amazing? Those are questions, but kind of the really, really big issue is, what's the chain of custody with those documents? When you complete an evaluation on a player, I've asked this of Egg softball, I've asked this of staff of the Park District, and I have not gotten an answer to this, and now I'm going to ask this question on air. When you complete an evaluation that has specific biometric information to a minor that says, this kid, who we know, first name, last name, has these abilities, what is the chain of custody with that paperwork? Where does it go? Where does it sit? Who has access to it? Who is the custodian of it? And ultimately, when can parents review that? And so I guess I'll ask that question, I mean, where do those documents lie? Who has those documents?
Am I answering?
No, that's
Part-
okay.
Oh.
We'll get back to him. We'll get you that answer.
Okay.
Which
Because-
association?
Well, I would argue that if you're talking about biometric kids and minors, and these are Park District programs, you have some issues with the Illinois Local Records Act, because I would consider.
But what association did you want?
Well, all of them.
Okay.
Any organization that does any type of biometric record on a
Gotcha.
child, where do they go, and how do parents see that? Because in some of the language, even on soccer, you say you yield your right to see these. I would say that policy does not trump a parent's right under the Illinois Local Records Act. But that's again for another topic. And then the other question is regarding privatization of organizations. These organizations that are private are gonna be able to withstand a lot of things coming out of Springfield, specifically the issue of gender. If you look at Illinois state law, there was a period of time for about maybe 6 weeks, I think, where men sued saying that we want to work out in women's-only health clubs. And they won. They won under the Public Accommodations Clause of the Illinois Human Rights Act. They won. Now, very quickly, a few weeks later, the Illinois General Assembly made women's health clubs fully exempt, and that closed, that idea closed. Now, if we were to take that as an example, I think a private organization that wants to say we are girls only, that we are for girls, we are for the development of girls, that really does hold some water. They're gonna have some teeth. They're gonna be able to point to the fact that women's only health clubs are exempt and that a women's only sport organization should be exempt. Now, a park district program that is gender specific, I don't think you have a leg to stand on because you are the park district, you control your own rules. I think that that day is coming, and I would say that you don't have to do anything right now, but I would say that you really should start looking at, is the idea of a gender-specific program supported by taxpayer dollars in this age of gender-based discrimination rampant, is this something that the park district really wants to build a foundation upon? And I think that maybe this is the time where you start looking at how do we deal with this? How do we mitigate this? Is privatization the right answer? Is it time that maybe we say, in 2 years, maybe these organizations go private? Or maybe do we consolidate? Maybe we simply just say it's youth softball. And say, hey, no, we're no longer. So it's youth softball, and just say anybody can play when they want to play, just like baseball. Girls and boys can play baseball, but according to this, only girls can play only girls play softball. And again, if you're in a private organization, you're gonna be able to weather the storm. But a public organization anchored to the park district, I think it's only a matter of time where somebody is going to force the issue and you're gonna have to change everything on the fly. And I would say maybe it's time to start looking within a 3-year period, what is the next evolution? What do we do next? So.
Thank you, Tim. Any correspondence, new or old?
Anybody else?
I think you didn't want to come up, did you? Okay, I thought I had that right, but. Okay, comments by the commissioners, anybody?
I just wrote down just 2 quick notes regarding Connie's, looking out for the open space or, less than an acre. I still say, and this is my opinion, the soccer field is open space. From 7 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock, whatever time somebody wakes up, if nobody is playing on the soccer field, it's open space. It will only be it'll only be booked for our athletic associations when soccer does it. In my mind, the spring and the fall. So daytime hours gives you all that open space, in my opinion. And, I've said this before, for that association, the Friends of Marshall, they still have all this open space on their own property. So to me, it's a moot issue. They have tons of open space for anybody in that community that wants open space. All they have to do is walk into their backyard. So we're still looking out for the
Well, it
rest
is
of the
private.
community.
It's for them only.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
For anybody who's paying that fee.
It's private property and the declarations from day one, no organized sports and everything.
I understand that, but we're talking about open space.
We're looking at it.
Open space. Anybody that is paying that association, homeowners association, has that. So anybody in that 144 units of Versailles, Burgundy, and that, I'm not concerned as a commissioner that they keep asking for open space because they have all the open space they can handle. So I'm still looking out for the rest of the community, and I'm still hanging my hat on the soccer field is open space. And it also it's not being booked in the summer. So that's my opinion on, there's plenty of open space at Marshall Park. Going to Tim's comments, I agree, I wrote down that the sled issue is true. you know, people, you're gonna have to watch out for. It's tough because it goes right through the middle, so if somebody's hanging on the monkey bars or flipping the tire or whatever, you really need to be cognizant of that sled, or at least talk to the individual that's doing the sled. Hopefully the person that's doing it is doing it. I've heard positive comments though for the rest of the area. You know what, besides looking cool, most of the people have liked it. To me, the difference is when the last time, I want to talk when they're not talking.
Go ahead.
Okay, so the difference to me was when we made the last change, we took equipment out, and a lot of people were dissatisfied with that when we changed the way the weightlifting area was. Now, we made an enhancement and we didn't take anything away. Yes, we made things tighter, but nothing has left, so a lot of people are enthusiastic about that. Regarding the FOIA, I don't know, I wrote on here, I don't think the issue is over. You know what, like you're talking about school districts, my own opinion is, as a taxpayer, as a resident, that either park districts or villages need to go to their own general assembly, because you talk about artificial intelligence, and yeah, it's a waste of taxpayer dollars. If somebody does not want to sign their name to a Freedom of Information Act, you know, then the actual elected leaders, not in the community, but in the state General Assembly, they should be doing something to eliminate artificial intelligence so that we're not creating hours upon hours of FOIA requests for somebody that just wants to penalize a particular institution. So I don't know if that's over. I'm sure these elected officials will go to their congressmen or Democratic or Republican leaders. When he brought up the list of bills, how would a person, or in Tim, I shouldn't say when Tim brought up, if he wanted a list of bills, do we put those online or not?
Currently, no.
I am one commissioner that would have no problem for transparency. We should list it. I don't see what the reason is. I would also ask that any individual that wants any paperwork that is open, if they don't want to have a Freedom of Information Act, like feeling that an individual has to go FOIA to get the list of bills, I would just hope that they would ask the appropriate person, can I have a copy of the bills, and that we would then offer them to them without making a person do a FOIA. The fencing at Mead, I don't know what information is being heard. In my opinion, a compromise was made. I don't think this is a trial run. I think it's a done deal. I guess the Girls Softball Association could come back next year and ask for the other one to have a home run fence, but then there would be dialogue amongst the board and staff, or vice versa. The actual Mead neighborhood could come back and ask us to look at it again. But in my mind, it's a moot issue. I wrote on here, Tim, you were questioning, like, what is the mechanism for changing the direction of programs and possibly associations? In my opinion, that mechanism are the residents. It's the individuals like yourself, but have to gather in greater numbers and demand change, or if a sport is growing or not growing. We can recognize when something isn't working, like inline hockey. The numbers went down to where they couldn't even run a program. We reinvented the rink to be pickleball. So we can see when the demand's not there. I would hope that staff is listening to the general public. We're certainly engaged with them, that if a sport is growing, that we would react to that, try to retrofit fields. So I believe it's the community is the mechanism that would drive any kind of change. And then paperwork can be accessed. I don't know why I wrote that, but that's my comments.
All right.
You
Scotty?
took all of mine.
All right. All good. Recommendations for acceptance and approval. I need a motion and a second. Approval of payment applications number 1 and number 2 from Train USA Inc. of Willowbrook, Illinois for the Pavilion Air Handler Replacement Project in the amount of $182,363.85.
So moved.
Second,
Roll call, please.
Commissioner O'Malley,
Yes.
Commissioner Carlson,
yes.
President Walls.
Yes. Approval of payment applications number 1, 2, and 3 from Train USA Inc. of Willowbrook, Illinois for the Pavilion Building Management System Replacement Project in the amount of $118,014.74. Need a motion and a second?
Second?
Roll call.
Commissioner Carlson,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Malley,
Yes.
President Walls.
Yes, approval of payment applications 1, 2, and 3 from Train USA of Willowbrook, Illinois for the Pack Pool Heat Exchange Replacement Project in the amount of $79,530.97.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Commissioner O'Malley,
Yes.
Commissioner Carlson,
Yes.
President Walls.
Yes. Sorry, folks, but we got a couple more here. Acceptance of the bid from Evans and Son Blacktop of West Chicago, Illinois for the Marshall Park Pickleball Project in the amount of $352,821.86.
So moved.
I'll second it. I don't know how I'm voting yet, so
Any
can we have discussion?
Yeah, can you explain that one?
So we went out to bid for the pickleball courts at Marshall Park. The quotes came in as shown on the memo. Evans and Son was the low and parent bidder. The numbers came in a lot higher than we had expected. We talked to them. There were some errors that we worked through. And then just to explain the bid process a little bit thoroughly, the whole base bid was the Marshall Park pickleball courts with the chain link fence and just the standard noise reduction in the form of the acoustic fence that we had talked about as a total project. Alternate number 1 was the pickle glass panel system to replace the noise mitigation system of the acoustic fence. Then alternate number 2 was a product of using the pickle glass system. Pickle glass is a system that does not have footings. It's surface mounted.
Right.
So they would want a concrete curb to surface mount their panels into. So that's the 3 items: the base bid, alternate 1, and alternate 2. So I went through the bid with the low bidder, parent bidder, Evans and Son, and we talked about removing the fence out of the base bid, the noise barrier system out of the base bid, and then not following through with the alternate number 1 pickle glass system to make it more affordable to just accomplish basically the surfacing needed to install the pickle glass system. So we went out to bid in a separate bid for the pickle glass system, hoping that we would get a lower price. That bid is due to be opened up next week.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion and a second, correct?
Correct.
Okay, just need a roll call.
Hang on, I'm still thinking about stuff. Is there anything, obviously Evans and Son gets it. It just seems like all the numbers are higher. So does staff ever feel like there's a time to rebid it and get in touch with the A-Lamps and the Leopardos and everybody else? I mean, 3 people bid it, or you have somebody do the earthwork. Obviously, this Evans and Son would be acting as their own GC. So is there ever a chance that we take away some of the work and we handle it internally, that what we can handle, like if we're our own construction manager or something like that? Or does any of that ever get talked about by staff?
Sure. But not on a project like this, though.
Because
'Cause
it's
this is
too
a-
daunting, or what?
Well, this is straight asphalt.
Okay.
Grading, this is what they do. I mean, we've done landscape, we pulled landscape out of Marshall and done it ourselves on the project. There are opportunities, but not something like this. This is a specialized, you're talking bringing an asphalt company and they're basically putting 6 inches of stone, they know how to do this.
Well, that's just it. I mean, I work with so many construction crews, and I see the fact that we're taking the fencing out and it's gonna be as a part of a different bid, even if it's to end up being this sycamore glass. So they come in at a cost of $150,000, but in the meantime, to grade that area and lay asphalt, it just seems like an awful lot of money because only 3 companies bid it. That's what I'm struggling with. Okay.
Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Carlson,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Malley,
No.
President Walls.
Yes. Okay, so we'll move forward on that. We'll go to E. Rescind, I've never done this before, so you'll have to explain this, Ben. We're gonna rescind the approval of the purchase of the equipment of installation of sports field lighting from Musco Sports Lighting LLC through Sourcewell Contract 071619-MSL for the Marshall Park redevelopment project in the amount of $235,000.
I move to rescind it as you stated.
So motion, second?
Second.
Okay, can you explain to the public and to us, obviously, we're rescinding one and coming back with another?
Correct. So we had this quoted out in 2023, and through the process of the Marshall Park project, we've looked at pickleball a couple of different ways. Initially, we said we weren't going to do pickleball. Then we went back to the village and we added pickleball.
We're talking about lighting.
Yep.
Pickleball
But
lighting.
The pickleball lighting,
Right.
as if we were gonna do a pickleball court or we weren't gonna do a pickleball
Right.
court, we weren't gonna do the lighting. So we took it out once, then we added it back in. During that whole process, there were some items that were realized by the electrical engineer that we needed to increase the service of the panel to a 200 amp service. And that is the result of the increase of $10,000. So Attorney Hoffman had asked that we rescind the original approval that happened last year, and we reapprove for the new amount of $245,000.
Okay. Because I take it that panel is probably running most of the water park, and I suspect the water park's taking up quite a bit of the space.
Right, so as we added lighting, it just increased.
Right. Okay. Motion and a second is, we have that, right?
Correct.
Okay, can I get a roll call?
Commissioner O'Malley,
Yes.
Commissioner Carlson,
Yes.
President Walls.
Yes. F, approval of purchase of the equipment, installation, and sports lighting from Musco Sports Lighting LLC through Sourcewell Contract 041123-MSL for the Marshall Park redevelopment project in the amount of $245,000 even. Need a motion and a second?
All right, so moved and then a discussion, please.
Second.
Okay, so this is essentially the 10 grand that we just spoke of previous, right?
Correct.
Okay.
All right, my discussion is, same thing, we approve it, we hear the neighborhood's concerned about the lighting, and maybe we are sticking to our standard, hey, there's gonna be 2 light stands here, 2 light stands there. Is there any thought to moving the lights, or how do you minimize it before this gets approved? Like, we're having 4 stands out there, can it be 3? Can it be 5? Do you take one and you make it farther off? So,
You're talking about the light posts?
Yes.
So in the original plan, they did a photometric study to where the 4, on either corner, all 4 lights is really focused in on lighting up the pickleball court. As John had said earlier, it's really just lighting the pickleball court.
yeah, just like the soccer
There's no
field,
spillover.
yeah.
So,
All right.
But we did sound mitigation and light mitigation studies. We've had that before. It's in our packets previous.
Yeah, and I read that.
We're
and-
only doing enough light for the pickleball court. Like, it's not gonna be landing helicopters thinking it's electric.
That is correct, and 6 months has passed, so it's
Okay.
just a question to see if we've looked at any other options. We just had a homeowner talk about internal lighting. This would be the time to have a small discussion if their internal lighting is different from external lighting.
this is essentially that.
Okay.
It's one product, one manufacturer over another manufacturer. We have this system, pickleball specific, we have this system at Clark Park Tennis. So that's very easy to see where we currently have it.
Okay. I have a motion and a second?
You,
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Carlson,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Malley,
Yes.
President Walls.
Yes. Hey, we're done with that. Items of information, leisure services update, Tiffany Green.
Okay.
So the Sheila Ray Adult Center is up to 318 members. They went on a couple of trips in August, a paddle wheel boat trip and a premier lunch cruise. The casino luncheon was backed by popular demand and it had 76 attendees. They also held their senior dance night and they had 46 people there. I will skip aquatics. We already had them here tonight and they discussed their area. For athletics, our summer adult pickleball league ended on August 29th. There were 14 teams in the league. The other league is set to begin September 18th. Our adult pickleball beginner class is already full for this fall season and there's still some room in our advanced beginner class that's on Tuesdays. Our adult bags league will begin September 25th and 26th at Fox Run. Last time I checked, there were 36 teams registered. And all adult senior softball is over for the season and the co-ed fall leagues kicked off in mid-August with 21 teams this year. For youth athletics, soccer practices for travel and rec teams began August 28th. Rec soccer is at 267 players this season. Tackle football teams had their first game August 31st at CAF. This season there's 126 tackle players, which is 34 more than last year. And flag football is at 22 players. The cheer team sent a couple teams to the first look competition that was held on August 25th. And their 4th grade squad came home with a bid to state. Cheer has a total of 69 athletes this year, which is 16 more than last year. House ball baseball began games on August 17th. There are 136 players in the fall baseball program. And the girls softball program has 80 players for their fall league, and those games begin August 17th as well. For cultural arts, a ton going on in this area. Fall pottery classes and have all started. And the registration is looking good for the clay class, drawing, craft, and paint classes. Nearly all the private music lesson slots are filled for piano, drums, and guitar. The fall production for Elf Junior is underway. They had 33 youth participants audition and 6 Rising Star registrations. So those shows are set for November. Summer dance classes wrapped up in August, as well as the 9 weeks of dance camp. They had 130 camp registrations. And they had 17 dance classes that ran over the summer with 120 total dancers. This week, our fall classes are kicking off and registration is still open. You have over 47 different classes to choose from for ages 2 through adult. Dance company is up to 51 dancers this season compared to 44 last year. Preschool, they just finished preparing for their start of the school year. They held their Meet the Teachers nights September 4th and 5th last week. And school started this week. They had 135 3 and 4-year-olds and 31 2-year-olds to welcome to the new school year. Group fitness numbers for the month of August were 1,741. Personal training sessions at 114. Open gym sessions at 454. And rejuvenation area visits 1,517. So coming up in the fitness center, there will be an open house on Saturday, September 21st from 9 to noon to showcase our new edition of the functional fitness space and the new layout of our cardio space. In the museum, we finished the summer strong with 80 participants in attendance at Archaeology Day. Pirates Cove, their daily admissions for the month of August through Labor Day weekend was 7,134. Which is up from 2023, which was 5,546. Our total rentals for the month of August were at 147 this year compared to 122 last year. Our summer camp wrapped up in August, and for those last 2 weeks for our general rec camps, there were 130 campers. Kids Club started on August 15th with currently 103 students enrolled. For special events, we held our Pirates Cove camp out on September 6th. There were 116 guests joining us for the Caribbean themed event. We have a whole bunch of events coming up, so I'll go through them quickly. Tomorrow and Saturday, we have the rummage sale at the Sheila Ray Adult Center from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. I was over there helping sort today. There is a ton of stuff, and it is all very cheap. So go support the Sheila Ray Adult Center. September 14th is another free event here at the district, Pioneer Day from 12 to 3 at the museum. September 20th, Parents Night Out. October 4th, Parents Night Out. October 5th, Fall Gift Show from 9 to 2 in Garden Terrace at the Pavilion. October 17th, a Halloween and charcuterie sip from 7 to 8:30 in Garden Terrace at the Pavilion. October 18th, a Parent Night Out at PAC. October 18th, a tween Halloween event from 7 to 9 at the Pavilion. October 19th, Doggy Trick or Treat from 10 to 11 a.m. at the Al Hattendorf Center Park. October 19th, Beer Garden at the Museum for ages 21 plus. October 25th, Halloween Fest from 5 to 7:30 at the Pavilion grounds. And October 27th, H2O event from 11 to 1 at the Pavilion Aquatic Center.
That's it?
That's all. Staff are busy. It's fall.
One question for her.
Yeah.
I attended the travel baseball board meeting a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
I think I don't know if staff has set direction yet when it comes to, are the fields free? Are they renting the fields? What expenses are being picked up that were borne by the actual staff? So have you guys given travel baseball an answer, or are you guys looking for direction still from the commissioners?
Well, the board discussed or directed us to wait to see how registrations for the new GCBL league turn out.
Okay,
So they are budgeting like they did last year. So
for both.
Yeah.
They're
Okay.
budgeting for the $600 per team per tournament as of now.
Okay.
Any other questions?
When do we want to talk about it then, so we give them their answer?
Well, I would.
They haven't even opened registration
Yeah, I would
yet,
think it'd be
so-
after they find out how much registration we have, right?
All right,
That's
well,
the
there is
direction.
one team that's thinking about staying in the MSBL or coming to the new league, and I had told that individual, like, the commissioners are talking that if you're gonna be in a competing league, they're not gonna get free fields, that's all.
That-
So I think we need to have that discussion
That was-
sooner than later.
That was spoken to the MSBL crystal
Okay.
clear,
Okay.
so
The MSBL is a renter, so they fall into the category of a renter.
they're just,
so
they're
rent
an
to
outside
the-
renter.
All right, then we don't
Private.
need that discussion, I guess, but we do need the other discussion still, that's all.
Parks and Planning, Mark Cosbag.
So last spring, we received a grant from the Morton Arboretum through the Chicago Region Tree Initiative to plant 50 trees throughout the park district. This is part of a program they have to increase the tree canopy in developed areas like Elk Grove. We're going to receive another 50 trees this fall, so that'll bring our tree planting total up to 100 trees this year, which is pretty exciting. Construction Special Projects has been working on Clark Park over the last few weeks. We think we're gonna wrap up the installation of the playground at Clark Park. Then that will kind of phase into drainage and concrete work and landscape work. And hopefully we have Clark Park Playground 5 to 12 done in the next couple of weeks. The dugout covers at Heffern, Clark, and Osborne Parks are in the process of being installed. We have a contractor that's setting footings, and then our team will go out and install the dugout covers, kind of timing it with the completion of Clark Park. At the Pavilion, we've had numerous projects going on over there. As we talked about earlier, the cardio project was finished. The rooftop air handler replacement had been completed. Heat exchanger at PAC had been completed, and then the building management system installation. Installation has been completed, and they're currently programming the space. Over last night, a couple of nights ago, there was the temperatures had increased in the fitness center where they got pretty warm. That actually was not a result of the programming of the building management system. That was an unrelated issue that our team came in the next day and quickly solved. So hopefully that's running the way that it should be. And then I would also add that exterior painting at Pavilion is almost complete. I think he hopes to wrap it up by the end of next week. I think all that's left is to paint the roof, the blue roof over Jensen Jiggles, and the main entrance. And then contractors began surface prep at Rainbow Falls, sandblasting and grinding the leisure pool to prepare for paint.
Any questions?
The golf course met today, and one of the topics was, or they told Scotty and myself that you delegating to Brian Kimbrough is gonna complete the cooler area internally. They felt comfortable that it would be done by the end of the year, so do you feel comfortable that it'll be done by the end of the year?
Yeah, yeah, they met with the health inspector very recently to make sure that what they were doing fit code, and I think it's moving along pretty quick.
Okay. That's it.
Okay. Business services, Brad Scholes.
Over at Fox Run, the club championship is actually this weekend, September 14th and 15th. Good luck to the participants. Pig roast is September 29th. $90 a player, 7:30 shotgun. Sign up. That includes golf cart and the pig roast. There will be limited availability to pig roast only, but priority will go to those that are golfing. Par 3 challenge is on October 5th. Superintendent's Revenge on October 26th. And the finance department is out for RFP for audit services. We will have a recommendation on the 26th.
Very good. Any questions for Brad? Marketing and communications update, Kelly Carbon.
I have a few things here that I'd like to share. The buzz came from print, which is our Sheila Ray Adult Center newsletter, and that arrived yesterday. So please take a look for that. It's got all of the rest of our activities for October, November, December, and Gina's got some wonderful things planned for everybody. So that's usually at the Hattendorf, at Pavilion, and we also carry it at the library. So stop and pick that up. We have been working very hard up in the fitness center. If you've been out there, we have some new vinyls going up on some of the windows, which is showing our new brand. And on the 21st, a week from this Saturday, we're going to be having an open house up there. And at the open house, it's going to take place from 9 to 12 in the fitness center. And we will be having a lot of giveaways. There's going to be refreshments, and it's going to be a really great opportunity if you're a member or if you just want to come and check out the new fitness center look to stop by. And we're going to be giving out 100 free t-shirts to the first 100 people that come between 9 and 12. So if you're coming at 7, you're not going to get a shirt. But you have to come back at 9 to get the shirt. So 9 to 12, we're going to be passing out shirts. And then after that, we will be representing the Park District at the Hometown Parade at 2 o'clock on the 21st. So we have entries with our pavilion dancers are going to be participating. Our seniors are going to be in the parade, as well as our preschool teachers. So we've got 3 preschool teachers that have celebrated, this year will celebrate 25 years. So we're honoring them at the parade as well. So it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful event. We sent out about 5,000 postcards this week for our Sheila Ray Adult Center open house. So we have the Sheila Ray Adult Center open house on October 4th from 1 to 2:30. So if you are 55 and above, or if you know somebody in the area that's 55 and older that would like to participate in the Sheila Ray Adult Center and join, we have that open house from 1 to 2:30. The other thing that we, our marketing department did was we came to Archaeology Day and we did some social media there, which helped bring, really increase the attendance that day. We'll be at Pioneer Day doing the same thing. We're going to be starting to have more marketing tables at some of these bigger events to cross-market and promote some of the other things happening in the district. And then we also invested in some professional videography and photography. And so we have some beautiful pictures that are being portrayed on our website. And tomorrow we're going to be having a staff meeting. We're put together a little video, so we'll be sharing that on the website as well. So very excited about all the great things that are happening this fall at the Park District.
Any questions or comments? Ben Curcio, Executive Director update.
I have two updates. I don't know if you guys remember, I submitted a capital grant, I think in 2020 for Jensen South. I finally got some feedback that we needed more materials, or they needed to present them with more information, so that's been finalized. It was a $50,000 grant. So
From 2020?
I'm still chasing it, and I'm confident we're gonna get it. It'll pay for half of that project when we did the storm drainage, if you guys remember
That
that.
is so the state of Illinois.
Yeah, but I haven't forgotten, so I'll
Very
let
good.
you know when I get the check. And then the foundation, surprised you didn't, last night was awarded, received a $8,000 donation from Microphone Brewery. So that was, it was a split donation with the village. And Kelly was there, Commissioner Cook and Scott Sachs, the president of our foundation, was there to receive it.
And Commissioner Cook invited them to come to one of our future board meetings, so we were gonna try to put a date together that they could come and be recognized and appreciated for their donation to the foundation.
Yes, that was very generous, so we thank them. Concludes my report.
Questions or comments for Ben? Any old business? Hearing none, any new business?
It's not new business, but wow.
So it'll be old business then.
It's neither. One of our employees is not here tonight, that's Frances Lanning, and she usually takes the minutes. Her mother passed away, so our condolences to her. Her maiden name is Santowski. They had like 15 kids in Elk Grove. Great lady, great family, and our condolences. So that's all I wanted to say.
Agreed.
Yep.
New business? No, we're good. So I need a motion and a second. Adoption of resolution.
Table this.
What's that?
I thought you were tabling this.
Oh, is that the one we're tabling?
Yes.
Okay, we are gonna table 10A. So we'll go to 10B. Thank you, Brad.
No problem.
Adoption of ordinance number 446, and an ordinance authorizing and directing the destruction of verbatim audio recordings of certain closed session meetings of the Board of Park Commissioners of the Elk Grove Park District.
So moved.
Second,
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Carlson,
yes.
Commissioner O'Malley,
Yes.
President Walz.
Yes. This one's a little weird to me. And a motion,
So-
yeah, so a motion and a second. No, this isn't.
No, you don't need
I don't need
any
a
for
motion.
C. I'll.
This got on here late.
No, it's just
Send it over to
discussion.
me.
Send it to Brad, then I'll talk about it.
Selection and proposal of natural gas supplier.
Yeah, so, we went out for RFP, for our gas contract. We're currently under contract through April of 2025. Gas rates are good right now, so we went out for proposals. I gave you the results in front of
That's
you.
what you just did
Correct.
today,
So
right?
we need to make a selection today, so we can lock in this price, and then we will ratify the selection at our next board meeting.
You're looking for direction for us to make a selection.
Correct. So you can look, so we have two different types of gas accounts. We have transport accounts, that's our 5 major accounts. Does about 215,000 therms a year. The rate actually lowered, we were at 41 cents a therm, and the rate that we got was 37.8 cents a therm. So that's looking at about just under $7,000 savings at that usage. And then our smaller accounts, came in slightly higher, but staff is recommending.
That's that one.
That's that one, correct. Staff is recommending locking in those prices for 3 years. Anytime you can lock in the current price or better is an advantage, so.
And why is it, tell me again why it has to be selected tonight?
These will expire tomorrow morning, so I need to give them an answer
It's that
tomorrow.
volatile.
And when did they present them to us?
11 a.m. today, the bids were due. That was the second page. I
And this
gave
is
you.
considered normal?
Yes, this is normal. We did this a couple years ago.
I know, but I'm normal, I thought back then, because it was the same thing, you presented it.
We don't have to
Ben
select
knows I
it tonight.
hate not
If we
having
don't
the
select it,
information.
we'll have to go back out for RFP. Prices are really good right now. Obviously going into the summer months, gas prices usually go up. And so we'd be playing the market most likely after the winter. They're calling for a colder winter. That usually means supply goes down, so I think it's advantageous for us to lock in prices now, especially when it's lower than what we are currently paying.
I think it's a crapshoot. I'm not gonna guess at what the weather's gonna be. I'm just never comfortable being presented something without doing any kind of homework. Ben knows this, so I don't like the system. All right, so so who are you recommending?
I'm recommending the highlighted one, Mansfield Energy, for both our transport and select.
And this is a 3-year contract?
Yes,
And what's our current contract due to expire?
it expires in
April or something? you said?
April.
April next year.
What do you think, President Wells?
I'm with you, I can't stand getting jumped, but I understand that this topic is a little bit different. Because it's like my industry, it's copper. We quote something, the guy quotes something at 4:45, and I tell him you have 15 minutes to give me the order, because it's just gonna change tomorrow. And it does, every day it changes. So, having said that, I would be in favor of it.
Having said that, all right, so Mansfield is the lowest, so you're going with Mansfield. So if we said no, how do we not know that Constellation or Direct Energy or somebody else doesn't come in lower
Tomorrow?
in the meantime? No, a week from now.
They could, 100%, they could.
Yeah, but it also could
But
be
you
higher.
got-
what he's saying is,
Yeah.
I found favorable rates that are lower than what we're paying now, and we can do a 3-year deal.
And they might be favorable next.
And they also might be triple.
Yeah, well, they won't be triple, that I know.
Well,
Well,
it's
I don't know
a
if you-
commodity,
did you
and
read
it
your
could
electrical?
go up a lot more than
Did you
just.
read the electrical
penny
information
a
I
third.
provided in there? Because I went out for RFP for electrical as well.
Yeah, it didn't go 3 times, so.
It went up 33% is the current quote that I got. So we did not come for approval for that on today.
And how
Because-
does an organization like ourselves and other park districts or villages or municipalities play down to this type of proposal where you have 24 hours to respond if you don't?
So this is not, we're all for RFP because this process is not sustainable to, conducive to the bid process.
It's like
Because we
bidding.
need to know. It's an
It's like
open
bidding on
market.
a stock. It's like bidding on Bitcoin or
yeah.
Nvidia.
We don't have to have an
It
agreement
changes
at all. We can
all
just
through
sign
the-
up with Nicor and pay whatever the market rate
Right.
is. Unfortunately, that's usually higher.
Cool. You got your motion in a second?
Well, it's not a motion, it's
Oh,
just,
that
he
one's
needs
all-
I just
direction.
need a consensus and then we can
I mean,
ratify the next one.
Well, I do the same thing with my business, so yeah.
I'm a gambler, so we'll see what they got next week when 2 other commissioners are around.
Okay,
that's a no then?
payment of the bills, August
Sounds like a
23rd.
no then.
Okay,
Oh, I need,
okay.
Yep, that's life.
We're gonna move on. Payment of the bills, August 23rd, 2024, in the amount of $349,297.88. August 30th, 2024, in the amount of $258,105.99. September 6th, 2024, in the amount of $116,511.07. We need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second,
Roll call, please.
Commissioner O'Malley,
Yes.
Commissioner Carlson,
yes.
President Walls.
Yes, I need a motion and a second to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Carlson,
yes.
Commissioner O'Malley,
Yes.
President Walls.
Yes. Next meeting will be September 26th at 7 PM. How do you like that?
Out of Cranford, New Jersey, our local municipal channel, TV35, is a major source of hyper-local information that is specifically designed and created for our residents alone. We get to see our town meetings, concerts, high school sports, news, and more on a channel that is strictly about our community. The value of public, educational, and government stations was clearly demonstrated during the COVID-19 pandemic. All access channels provided crucial information, including press conferences and emergency updates from their municipal governments directly to their citizens. Today, the very existence of PEG channels is under attack. Access channels have been historically supported by a special surcharge that subscribers pay on their monthly cable bill, which is passed back to each municipality. But in 2019, this all changed. The FCC passed a franchise fee order that allows the cable companies to redefine the way PEG stations are funded. Under this new order, the cable companies could add the value of in-kind contributions to this cap, including the ability to place an arbitrary number on the value of each access channel. This would greatly affect the total amount received by municipalities and drastically reduce the amount of funding available to support PEG stations, possibly forcing municipalities to reassess the importance of funding their channels. Fortunately, there is a simple solution to this problem that is awaiting action in both sides of Congress. The Protecting Community Television Act mandates that the franchise fees must be only monetary payments. No non-monetary contributions will be allowed. This would ensure that franchise fees would continue at the level required to support PEG and community channels. Please contact your members of Congress today and ask them to co-sponsor the Protecting Community Television Act. Doing so will demonstrate their support for PEG television and allow municipal and community channels to continue bringing you hyper-local information.
Davey knows a thing or two about getting results. So do we. Elk Grove Village can help your business get big.
Looking for a fun evening without having to travel all the way to Munich? Then grab a stein and come on down to the annual Oktoberfest. Enjoy authentic German food, lively music, and fun activities with friends and family. Find out more information at elkgrove.org/Oktoberfest. Prost!
Fox Run Golf Links, a year-round facility featuring great food and fun. Our newly remodeled clubhouse features 22 large-screen TVs, plus daily food and drink specials. Bring your friends and play around on one of our full-swing golf simulators featuring over 85 courses. With all this, Fox Run is also the perfect place to host your next meeting or special event. Visit us today at foxrungolflinks.com for more information on indoor leagues and special events.
In these uncertain times, America needs a man whose very presence will instill confidence and commitment into this precious land. A brave man who will bring innovation and clarity to the American landscape. That man is... Hello! Ralph the Robot. Fridays at 9, only on Channel 6.
Elk Grove Village is home to the largest industrial park in the United States.